Good evening. Happy Sunday, Dbacks fans. We appreciate you guys tuning on into another exciting episode here of Dbacks Dispatch with your trio, Brandon on your right, Gabe on your left, and myself, Brett, in the middle. As we're here to discuss a little bit more spring training D-backs as there's some news. There's some games we can talk about, some players' performances, and whatnot. But before we kind of dive in and dig into the meat and potatoes here, we do want to say if you guys have not joined our Discord yet, I always want to get you guys joining the Discord again. It's absolutely free. We'd love to have you guys go in there. Make sure you follow us on all socials, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Make sure you guys also go on the YouTube side if you like and comment and subscribe, and share with a friend or family member. I know we're really quickly approaching 500 subscribers, so we would truly appreciate that. Even if we can get there before opening day or just in general, whenever we get there, you guys are helping us get there, so we appreciate that. And then, as always, go over to azsnakepit.com. There's literally every single day tons of great articles. If you guys didn't check out the written article from the last episode, our man Josh had a great article put out there, especially kind of did the math on what it would cost for, a spring training for him and his two kids to go, and if they wanted to kind of enjoy all the bells and whistles and how much that would be out of pocket and all that fun stuff. So again, azsnakepit.com is the place you're going to want to be for all of your D-backs content, again, written and all that fun stuff. It is honestly just great involvement, great community. Love the people over there. Shout out to our man Jim that runs the pit, and then that's how we kind of know Jeff over there. And then a bunch of other people. If you're a writer yourself, or you want to be a writer and you want to write about the D-backs, they do have opportunities and like fan posts over there, so you guys can throw some stuff on the pit as well. And like I said, just get involved in the community. It's a great place to be. But as I said, some actual spring training news and whatnot to dive into. But before we dive into it, gentlemen, I want to ask, how's your weekend been? I know it's usually obviously talk about the D-backs, but anything you guys been doing lately? Anything big going on in your lives? I know Gabe, you're usually doing some men's league baseball, hitting some dingers, striking some people
Yeah,
out.
yeah, not this week. Unfortunately, we didn't have a game till like next week, next Saturday. But it was actually a pretty busy week. I had a wedding yesterday, which was nice. So I guess congrats to the newlyweds. And then today, going away party for an old friend of mine. So been pretty busy, emotional, interesting weekend. I was up until like 3 a.m. racing a couple people, like running, racing,
Like
because
actually running.
yeah.
So you're saying that you could beat Dre Jamison in a race? Is what you're saying?
I mean, put me in Dre and Corbin. Let's see who's the best runner out of the three of us. But yeah, it was pretty interesting, fun weekend. I haven't slept much, so I'm very tired right now. And after this podcast, I'm probably gonna crash for a while.
Heck yeah. Well, hey, at least it sounds like it's been like you said, maybe an emotional one, but a lot of memories hopefully to be made, whether good or I guess bittersweet could be the term. But yeah, say that does sound like at least a jam packed weekend. What about you, my good sir Brandon? What you been up to this weekend?
Absolutely nothing. I've been laying in bed. I've been binge watching The Rookie with Nathan Fillion. I love Nathan Fillion, so anything that he's in, I will watch. So that's literally all I've done this entire weekend was just lay in bed and watch The Rookie.
There you go. So that's a show that I've heard a lot about that I need to watch. My wife and I, we finished the Night of the Seven Kingdoms recently. And now we're kind of like, well, we have no new shows to watch. I'm kind of in the middle of another rewatch of Attack on Titan while playing Stardew Valley a bunch. So that's kind of what I've been to. We went to a fun little. The wife and I, our son, and my parents went to a fun little quote unquote farm. It's more of just like an acre of property that somebody has some farm animals and stuff like that, where they have like a bistro, and it's really cool. I'll try to figure out the name of it for a no not actual like promo by them, but just very cool, very fun, something to kind of do, get away. It's I think out in Levine, but yeah, so that's pretty much all I've been doing outside of working because I got stupid weekend work hours. But enough of that. We are here to discuss some actual D-backs baseball. And again, welcome in everybody into our comment section, like we are our OG longtime listener, Corbin Barrels. We appreciate you stopping by. Anybody else, whether you're sitting here lurking, listening, we appreciate you as well. Or if you're listening to us after the fact, again, we appreciate that as well. Let us know your thoughts on everything, whether you're here in the live or on the comment section on YouTube after the fact. Anything that we have, like the questions that I have for Brandon and Gabe, it's not just for them, it's for you guys as well. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts. As always, get your 2 cents in on all this, because again, that's what we're here for. It's not just us. It's try to get as much of a community involvement as we can, and kind of get opinions from all kind of sides and all that. But into the first first kind of news that we had here is we've talked all offseason about the signing of Mike Soroka, and then also, bring back Zach Gallen, how you can never have too much pitching depth. It's always great to have arms, always great to have, starters because especially early in the season, it seems like they're going to be kind of, sparingly uses what you're going to see. You're not going to see many, 6, 7 innings. To start the season, it's going to be a lot more, 5, maybe 6 innings and all that. But the D-backs pitching depth is already taking a little bit of a hit. Thankfully, nothing, season ending like we saw with Andrew Saalfrank out of the bullpen. We've had 3 different starters kind of deal with a little bit of some injury issues here at the beginning of the season. Obviously, the big one that I know has been talked about a bunch is Merrill Kelly, who was supposed to get the ball on opening day against the Dodgers. He was having a couple back issues. Had some spring training starts. Moved back and all that. Got it looked at, which said there's nothing major. But a tweet from Steve Gilbert said that Merrill Kelly had received a shot of cortisone and lidocaine in his back last week. He played catch today without problem and is optimistic about being able to pitch at the back end of the rotation to start the season. So not only that, but Torey Lovullo also confirmed that he is no longer going to be getting the ball on opening day. So whether it's Ryan Nelson or Zach Gallen, it is not going to be the original plan of Merrill Kelly, which is just hilarious. The one time Torey Lovullo actually sets in stone before spring training starts a opening day pitcher. The plans change immediately, so that's just very D-backs baseball right there. Another arm, obviously, of note is the postseason legend himself, Brandon Pfaadt. From Alex Weiner, said that Brandon Pfaadt, quote, dealt with a minor side issue this offseason. Torey Lovullo said he is asymptomatic now and through a live BP session today. This was on the 26th when he tweeted this. Then went on to say should be fine in his progression, but is getting slow played to an extent. So thankfully, not like we have to worry about much about him. Obviously, it's not like he's starting opening day. He would still be in that rotation, but if you're wondering why we haven't seen any of Pfaadt action yet, that is why. But then somebody that is actually going to be missing considerable time, could be the entire season, could just be a good chunk of it, is right-handed pitcher Christian Mena. He has now been shut down after re-injurating his tres major in his shoulder. So dealing with some shoulder injuries. I think it's the same shoulder that he had some issues with last year when he missed time after that botched rain delay in Cincinnati. So looks like that's kind of come back to bite him in the shoulder once again, and he's going to be missing some time. But out of the 3 injuries we've seen from the starting pitchers, is there any one of them that particularly concern you a little bit more? Is there anyone that maybe you didn't see coming as much? I know for me, the Brandon Pfaadt was surprising. It's minor. They're not really going to report about it throughout the season, but I feel like we would have heard about it a little bit sooner. For me personally, the Merrill Kelly, I know it's not his calf issue, but it just seems like every year there's always something that's going to be, ailing him. We kind of talked about that when we re-signed him anyway. Like he's not a spring chicken. He's a little bit older. He has had some health injuries, obviously, and we're already kind of seeing that before we have actually seen a regular season pitch being thrown. But out of all these 3, what's one that kind of concerns you a little bit more, and maybe what's one that maybe surprised you a little bit when you saw the news?
I guess if there's one that surprised me more, it was the Pfaadt one, just because it did kind of just come out of nowhere. Like we didn't really hear anything about it until they actually started to start the games, and then that's finally when they were like, oh yeah, like by the way, Brandon Pfaadt's injured, so that's too bad. But I guess the one that I'm actually really concerned about is Merrill Kelly, because again he's I believe 36, 36 or 37. So again, like a lot of those injuries, especially for older guys, kind of just don't go away. Like you've seen it with Verlander, he had his issues for quite a while. Max Scherzer, like these are guys who once they get Kershaw as well, they reach a certain age and then their body just kind of not necessarily gives up, but it re-aggravates the same injury over and over again. So Merrill has been a guy who's been super consistent for this team. Like basically since he's come up, he's been about 30 starts per season. So when you have like these lingering issues, at times you can go suddenly from being a 30 game guy to 20-25 guy, which might be a problem for us. But like we talk about, like you can never have too much pitching. So luckily we have Zach Gallen. They're able to make that deal soon, because who knows what this team would be doing right now? Who would they be scrambling to try to find just to fill up that rotation spot? Because that would be a huge issue right now. But yeah, for me, it's mostly Merrill Kelly. Like it concerns me that he's coming up with these, especially with back issues, especially with being an older player. With Brandon Pfaadt, I'm not really worried about it. He may be ready for opening day, maybe not. I think we can at least, it's 3 games in LA, day off, and then they come here. So I feel like by, the opening series, home opening series, most of these guys should be back. So probably won't be much of an issue. But yeah, I'm not too worried about Brandon Pfaadt. At that point, it's just kind of giving him some time to rehab because there's a lot of stuff that pops up, like in the first week or two is just you're kind of just aggravating stuff because you don't really work on it the same way. So some guys have issues with their legs. Like if you ask anybody at training camp, they'll probably say the first week or two they're probably super sore, even if they played in the winter league or something like that. It's just a totally different type of preparation, which is why we've talked about getting guys into camp earlier than later because stuff like this flares up. So um, in terms of Mena, it's not so much that I'm worried about it, but it sucks to miss like an entire another season because of this crap, because of MLB's idiocy and just caring more about the money rather than the players. And who knows when he's going to come back? Like if he re-aggravated it, you would hope he comes back this season, but that's another year of development, another year of training that he's going to just completely miss out on. So I feel really bad for him, and then hopefully, like I said, hopefully he's fine by the end of the season. He can get a little bit of play time, because you don't want to see a guy with his sort of stuff just never make it to the big leagues in a meaningful way because the injuries just set him back. Like he's a guy that you know in 5 or 6 years, he might be in Korea. Not I mean in a bad way or a negative way. It just might be a guy who just kind of slips through the cracks because of his injury history here, and it's gonna be really unfortunate to see. So with him, I'm hoping that he's able to recover sooner than later, so he doesn't become one of those type of guys.
Yes, I think maybe not about you guys, but I know that at least for me personally, any kind of shoulder injuries always scares me, just because I know it's not the same exact issue, but obviously look what happened to Brandon Webb. I know his is different. He had shoulder bursitis, I think is what it was. He had a couple of rotator cuff injuries and all that, but we saw how. And again, I'm not saying that Mena is even close to what even Brandon Webb is. Obviously, Brandon Webb was on track to be a Hall of Famer. He got robbed of Rookie of the Year. He was a Cy Young winner. Could have won multi-time if he wasn't going up against guys like fucking Jake Peavy every year. But you can definitely see how shoulder injuries can sideline people. So the Mena one will be a little bit concerning. Hopefully it's nothing major. Hopefully, like you said earlier, it's kind of either earlier or you said it before the show. I think sometimes they can just be a little bit more overly cautious with some of these guys, especially early on in a guy like Mena, who it's not like he had a opening day spot kind of set there for him, ready to go. Like maybe he made it out of the bullpen, but there's a good chance they probably wanted to keep him stretched out. So maybe they're just being a little bit overly cautious and trying to, play at the long game. Like, hey, you know what? Come July, like if you can be back and ready to go, before, even in May, we'd rather have that like push you back now. So then when the inevitable other injuries happen, hit the rotation, we can at least have you, call it for spot starter two in the middle of the season, rather than try to have you work through it now and then actually be injured the entire season. But fingers crossed, nothing big. But I do agree with the whole Merrill Kelly thing that it's probably the more concerning one out of them all. Just in fact, his injury history the last couple years. Like if it was another calf issue, I'm like, okay, yeah, cool, that's just the same Merrill Kelly. Like, what if we can't fix it? Cool, but the fact that it's a new one, I know back issues can always be tough too. Something that hopefully we'll get to monitor. But as long as he doesn't miss any starts, even if it's, the back end of the rotation, really the order of rotation doesn't really matter, for being honest, outside of a few matchups here and there. But that can all be reset after the All-Star break anyway. But Brandon, passing it along to you now, my friend. Out of the three pitchers that have kind of, made news here with some injury concerns and whatnot, is there one that kind of stands out to you more that you want to focus on, whether you're a little bit more concerned, maybe a little bit more surprised? Which name did you kind of pop into your head that you wanted to focus on a little bit more here today?
So initially, it would have been Merrill for sure because we brought him back on that 2 year deal, paying him a decent chunk of change. Um, but because at first they didn't really know what it was initially, and we were all like, "Oh, great, what is it? Is it cramps again?" But no, we found out it's an issue with his back, which is pretty normal for a player of his age. They typically have a lot of back problems, but it's from everything that's been said. Got the cortisone shot, so hopefully that'll help him bounce back. Hopefully he can make his first spring start here soon, so we can see him pitch. Because I love watching Merrill pitch. Like just his ability to just locate any of his pitches is what I think makes him one of the most dominant pitchers in franchise history. Like anything, like his changeup, in my opinion, might be his best pitch. His changeup is just absolutely filthy. So that one probably is my biggest concern, just because we're gonna need him. He is probably our best pitcher. Just consistently, he always goes out there every fifth day. You know what you're gonna get. That's why he's called the mainstay, because he would literally go out there every fifth day and get the job done. Fought My expectations for him for this season are super low, so I wasn't. I'm not that worried about it. Like, it's a side issue, so they're. It's kind of like Gabe said. Like, they're probably being very overly cautious on it. Don't want to get him started too quickly, so maybe they have him just kind of slow roll him here. Maybe he misses another week or so. That's just me kind of theorizing. Like, there's no real reason to rush him back, because, like Gabe said, we do have that off day in that first week, so you really, same thing with Kelly. You could have them both start those two of the three games against the Tigers at that opening homestand. So them not being ready for opening day is not that big a deal. I'm just bummed for Christian Mena. Like, I really hope that this doesn't become a thing for him. Like, your best availability is being available. And if you can't show the team that you're available to be out there as a pitching arm, again, I don't know what was the plan, to have him be in the rotation there in Reno or whatnot. So I hope that he's not out for too long with this shoulder. Maybe he misses a couple of weeks. Maybe he misses a month max. Like, that would be great. It would suck if he does have to miss a good portion of the season, or even the entire season, due to that same shoulder injury that he suffered last season. So hopefully it's not too bad. I think Kelly makes one of those starts against the Tigers. Maybe he makes the home opener start. So maybe he's not the opening day starter, but maybe he's able to get back in time for the home opener on that Monday.
Yes, as long as he's back. I mean, I think that's the main thing. Is if he just doesn't miss any major time, I think we'll all be like, you know what, Merrill, that's fine. Like we, Gabe said, he's already older. He's even like Brandon said, and these are kind of things that guys of his age deal with. So as long as he's not going to be missing any major time, and he can be back for the what would it be, the final game of the Tigers homestand? Because then like Gabe said, we do. It's a weird series to start off. It's Thursday, Friday, Saturday in LA to start the season. Then we have that Sunday off, and then Monday we have the home opener against the Tigers, which. Thank God we at least don't we get to see Scooble and on game 3 and not against not Scooble and Framber. So hopefully we'll only be getting to see one of them depending on how their rotation stacks
Yeah.
out. I'm not sure if they actually, I don't know. Do they play
I
Sunday?
have to, you have to check their games. Like, imagine it would have to be like Erod versus Scooble or something like that. Like
Oh God. Or like
Atomic
our luck
Bomb versus
like
Coughing
Soroka,
Baby.
like
Yeah,
Mike
versus Soroka.
Soroka versus fucking Tarek Scooble. It's like,
So
oh God.
they are the same as us. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, off day, and then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then off day on Thursday for them.
Okay, so then yeah, he'll probably be back. I mean, if we can at least hey get those first two games at home under our belt, because then hey, guess what? Game 5 or Game 6, you're playing you're going up against fucking Tarek Skubal, so have fun there, buddy. But yeah, so definitely not the best news obviously that we're gonna be seeing. You never want to see anybody deal with any issues, but thankfully, obviously, again, we don't know fully. It just says Mena is shut down from throwing, so it doesn't say anything about season ending. It doesn't say like he's going to need surgery right away. It doesn't say anything like that. So, like Scott Mack is asking, is Mena out for the year? It's not confirmed yet. I wouldn't be surprised. But they have not said whether he's out for the year or not yet. Obviously, it's not like Andrew Saalfrank, where we kind of find out from an Instagram post that he got surgery and he said he's done for the season. We haven't seen anything yet, so the fact that they just said he's shut down, I think they're just being a little bit more overly precautious, and they're just trying to make sure that they can eventually get some innings out of him this year, whether in Reno or just in general, just make sure he's able to pitch in 2026. But who knows? They just like a lot of teams that kind of keep some things close to their chest. They won't just put out all their information, especially if they don't know fully yet, because who knows? It could be one of those where something flared up, they would let it sit for a couple weeks and then get more imaging done, see how he feels, and then they make a decision from there. So we might not fully know if he's out for the season until, maybe a couple weeks into the regular season. But fingers crossed, knock on any piece of wood that we possibly can, that we don't have to actually deal with anything like that, and we actually get to see all three of these guys pitch some innings here early on in 2026 and not have to worry about any of them missing any time like so many of our pitchers seem to do. Even like Scott saying that only Zach Gallen has a bionic pitching arm, and that does seem true. Where he might give up home runs, but my God, will he go out there and he will give you almost 200 innings every year? It seems like. So I think he's only had like one season where he missed like 2 weeks of some injury issues, and all that. So thankfully we don't have to deal with that as much, but. There was some other D-backs news. I guess not like as I wouldn't say negative. There was some official announcements on D-backs players that were reassigned today. I know we had Justin in the chat saying that I like how Ryan Walshman's making a real impact on spring training, and then Scott Mack even saying that will Ryan W make the team? How's the slug been? I feel like it's a little bit weird because we technically got an answer about that today. I know our friends over at PHNX Diamondbacks, they did put out a tweet saying the Diamondbacks have reassigned the following players to minor league camp. It was right-hander Daniel Egan, left-hander Tommy Henry, right-handed pitcher Derek Law. A little surprised they didn't give him a longer runway considering the way the bullpen is. Right-handed pitcher
Oh,
Alfred
he didn't
Maria.
pitch at all.
Oh, true, yeah. So I'm surprised they just send him down
I
instantly.
think he's still hurt. So.
Oh, that could be. Right-hander Alfred Murillo, right-hander Landon Sims, who we talked about a little bit last time. He's still not looking like he was out of college. Hopefully he can bounce back and just get something out of him. Infielders, Ben McLaughlin, and then also infielder Ivan Melendez, and then obviously outfielder Drew Jones. So I guess technically Ryan Waldschmidt hasn't been sent down and reassigned yet. I was kind of expecting it to be in that first set of reassignments just based off of what he was doing. Even Gabe said in our group chat, I think in his first 19 at bats or 16 at bats before today's game, he was hitting like 176. Again, it's in spring training, averages are going to skyrocket and plummet after a game or two just because of, how they've been performing and all that. But, he's been better as of late. It hasn't been the best performance. But before we kind of dive into Ryan Waldschmidt, I know you guys are wondering about that. I did at least want to touch base and, kind of focus on some of the names that were officially reassigned. I think the name that we kind of talked about in our group chat a little bit was Drew Jones. Just the fact that Alec Thomas is going to be going to the World Baseball Classic with Team Mexico. So he's going to be gone. They're going to need another outfielder in there.
Yeah, I kind of just thought like he's going to go to the Netherlands. So I'm like, I wonder if
That could be.
maybe that's the reassignment.
That could be where they're like just reassigning him now, so then he could still go do
Yeah.
his thing. So maybe that's the case. I guess another name that I'm a little bit surprised at too is Daniel Egan. I know Brandon was saying that he actually looked pretty solid in his start the other day. I haven't been able to watch as many games. Obviously, most of them aren't even televised. I've been trying to keep up as much, just crazy work schedule and all that. But I think those were the two names that I was a little bit surprised on. I'm personally not surprised at all in Tommy Henry. Like I know we brought him back after the injury that he had, but I don't think that he's a major league quality pitcher on this team at least, and maybe another team can pick him up and figure something out about him. But on the list of names that were officially reassigned to minor league camp, were there any that maybe stuck out to you as a little bit of a surprise? Any of them that you kind of went like, oh yeah, I kind of saw that coming? Any of the names that in general you at least wanted to give a tip of the cap to that we expect them to be reassigned, but they still put up a hell of a spring in their little bit of outings that we got to see them from.
I guess for me it would probably be Egan. I would have thought they would have had him play at least a little bit more. He wasn't a guy that I think was going to be ready for opening day for this team, but he is, like a more promising, Scott is asking here. So if you have any promising young arms in spring training that can make a big impact, it depends on what you mean. Like Dre Jameson isn't necessarily young anymore, but Daniel Egan is. He's only 22, but he's only reached Double A up until this point in his career. So that's kind of an issue, and we'll talk about it later with Ryan Waldschmidt as well. Most of the time, unless you're Juan Soto or Bryce Harper, guys don't get skipped from the Triple A. Like most of these guys get it, whether it's for batters, I believe it's 350 at bats. That's usually what they want you to get in spring and in the minor leagues, and I think it's like 150 innings in the minor leagues as well in each levels for a pitcher. So I was surprised that they signed him early. I don't know what work they're doing. because they don't have quote unquote spring training in the minor leagues the same way. 'Cause obviously, the major league spring training is the minor league spring training. So I don't know exactly what they're gonna do. He looked good. He had like a you know a 2 ERA in the minors, so like 2.5 ERA in the minors last season. So I was surprised that they reassigned him when they did. I would assume that they would have given him a longer leash, especially right now without Merrill Kelly or without Brandon Flott. Like there's enough space for him to at least get a little bit more of a leash. But for the most part, that's the guy I was mostly interested in. Drew, up until I guess I just thought about him, like, oh, he's going to go to the Netherlands. Um, so I'm assuming that's what it is. I'm curious how they can announce the Alec one. Like, what would that even be? They just know the team or something.
I think because they didn't really say anything for when Cattell and Perdomo left. I don't think they technically have to do anything with them. Then they just stay on
Yeah,
the 40 man. I think it's just if you're a non-roster invitee, then they have to declare.
reassign or
Yeah,
something. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I would hope that's what it is, and it wasn't the team just being like, "Hey, so you're not coming up at all. Like, we're not going to need to see you anymore." So, hoping that it was just a reassignment basically to the Netherlands camp. But yeah, for me, Daniel Egan, he looked good. Hopefully, he can make the jump to AAA this season, and maybe we can see him closer to September if there's teams making a push.
yeah. I'd really love to see Daniel Egan on the squad. Just at some point. I still don't think it'll be this year. I know we've mentioned it before. I feel like the D-backs really like to let their younger arms kind of season, or just not even arms, just players in general. Kind of season, and I'll kind of get back into this about the whole Waldschmidt discussion and all that. But I think for me, especially the Drew Jones, I mean, it makes sense if he's going to go play for Netherlands. But again, small sample size. He's only had 12 ABs this year. It's still a few more than last year, but I mean, this year he's already 4 for 12. He's got two doubles, 3 strikeouts, obviously in the 12 at bats. So still striking out around, probably I guess this a little bit more than what he's doing in the minor leagues, but hey, you know what? An 833 OPS with the 500 slug again. Very small sample size, so it's not like you look at those numbers, you're like, oh my goodness, but still very positive. Seeing how the hitting side of his game has been the place that's needed the most improvement. We know he's got the arm. We know he's got the glove. I mean, he's the best fielder in our organization. I wouldn't even say minor league. I think he's probably just our best fielder in the entire organization.
Yeah, I mean everything that came out about him because the team drafted him out of college. Like everything the
High
scouts were
school.
saying about
He
him
was out.
was
He was drafted out of high
college.
school.
My bad. Yeah, yeah, high school. My bad. Everyone was saying, all the scouts were saying, like, yeah, this guy, if you put him in the outfield, he'd be fine right now. Like he is a guy who can play the major league outfield like nothing. Like he is major league ready, at least defensively. But obviously the bat had to come around.
Yeah, so if the back can stay, I mean, hopefully this is maybe they're obviously outside the World Baseball Classic. Maybe he's gonna just have this as like a confidence boost going back down to the minor leagues, like officially getting to work with the major league coaching staff. Maybe they diagnosed something in his swing, figured it out. I know even Jeff in our Discord the last couple years have been saying it always seems like he's stepping in a bucket, or like whatever term he was using to describe. It definitely looked like his swing, like he wasn't fully comfortable out there. Pitchers would kind of take advantage of the throwing heat inside on him, feel like he would get jammed a lot of the times, and he wouldn't really pull the ball as hard. So it'd be nice
Yeah,
to see
like
him
for
obviously
for me,
still.
when I see him bat, at least before, like he looked a lot better in spring. For me, he kind of just looked like well, I mean, like a kid, kind of like a guy who shot up 5, 6 inches during, over the summer and stuff like that, and is still getting used to his height. Like I think we all probably know a few people, or even, were the type to actually like grow or 5 or 6 inches over the summer, and then just, like your body's just awkward, and I think that's kind of the weirdness about him when he bats. Like he kind of just looks like somebody who grew a few inches over the summer and still sort of getting used to their own personal space. Like if you see him in the outfield, it looks like he's like on ice skates. But when he's batting, it's just like a weird, like he looks like a baby deer or something.
It's like the scene from Rookie of the Year with Henry Rowan Gardner stepping in the box against the major leaguers, where he's like 1 foot in the very back corner and just kind of like, all right, don't hit me, please. But yeah, say definitely. Hopefully, we get to see some more of him in World Baseball Classic. Who knows? Maybe he'll be a big factor in Team Netherlands. I mean, if you guys don't watch Jolly Olive, he just put out a great video recapping the last great WBC, which was I think the 2017 one. It was the same year as Adam Jones robbing that home run against Manny Machado. That whole World Baseball Classic, I feel like every game was absolutely electric. Just watching that video, so there's some names in there that like stood out where I'm like, oh man, I forgot about that guy that played for Netherlands or Italy or whatever it is. So maybe Drew Jones will have his World Baseball Classic moment. He can make some big time plays, have some big time hits for the WBC, and we can look forward to his year in 2026. But question on to you, Brandon. Looking at the list of names that were officially reassigned, obviously the Hispanic Titanic, Daniel Egan, Drew Jones, and then some of the names that maybe not as surprising, like Henry, Landon Sims, and all that. Any of these names that kind of stuck out to you a little bit, or that you wanted to highlight here? Maybe give them, like I said, like a tip of the cap, like, hey, you know what? Good showing here. Hopefully, we'll get to see more of you this year, or somebody in general that you wanted to talk about that we are no longer going to be seeing in spring camp.
Like, I didn't expect Daniel Egan to make the 26 man or 28 man roster coming out of camp. Like, I knew that wasn't going to happen, but for him to get one appearance and then they're like, "Yeah, we're done." I mean, he threw 21 pitches in 2 innings, and his induced vertical break on his fastball, he had one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight of the pitches, which were his four seam, were over 18 inches of induced vertical break. So he was pitching like, I was like, wow. Like, I knew he was good. I didn't realize he was this good. But they only gave him one shot. Like, they gave him one outing, which is probably all they needed to see. He's gonna start in Double A again. Let's see how much of a improvement he can really make. So let me, yeah, Scott, let me fix my audio real quick. Hopefully that sounds a little bit better for you guys.
Okay, sounds a
Sorry
little
about that.
crispier.
Yeah,
I can still hear you
don't know
before,
what.
but it does sound a little more clear now.
Yeah, I'm not sure why that wasn't working. But no, Daniel Egan looked really, really good. I'm not surprised Ivan got sent down because I don't know if he is. He is not it. Ivan Melendez is not, like, just go look at his spring training career numbers. They're awful. He's like one hit and like 30 at bats. Like, it's
I think he just
bad.
presses too hard. I think he's
I
like
think he
trying
is.
to will his way onto the squad, and just do a little too much. Which I get it at the same time, but it's also like I still think he's going to be a really solid player at the bigs. I just think that you know it's his time hasn't come. I think next year will be the real shot when it's like, hey man, we're probably going to be gone with Pavin Smith. Carlos Santana's not going to be here. Like, next year is your opportunity for sure. Where I think he's still kind of at a roadblock because they're not moving on from Pavin Smith. They obviously signed Carlos Santana to kind of shore up that defense at first base. So I think that's kind of why he's been struggling a little bit.
We'll see if we'll see how he does this year in the minors. Maybe it is. Maybe he presses really, really hard in spring training, but then we see him play and cuts down on his whiff rate. Like, that's the one thing. He just, his chase and whiff rate is just so not good. Drew Jones, like, at first I was like, why? And then, as you guys stated, it actually makes sense. He's gonna go play for the WBC, and by the time that's over, he's not gonna be on the main roster because he's not making this team out of camp. So they just decided, let's just reassign him now to minor league camp. He's played really well, but he goes oppo so much. Like, it's so weird because you think a lot of guys love to pull, not Drew Jones, and I think he just has some really bad habits from just when he was younger, and it's taken the team a while to break those bad habits of
Yeah,
just
that's
always
one of the
going the
issues with
opposite
Alec
way.
Thomas too. Even when he was in minor leagues, he would hit the ball the opposite way, like a lot. Like most of hits were the opposite way. Um, I don't know if it's just because that's the way their their swing is, or is it maybe like a coaching thing? I don't know. If this team is just trying to get guys to go the other way, or they're just slightly behind everything, so they're hitting it the opposite way. But yeah, it's definitely something that you notice with some of these guys that they just kind of love going the opposite way. Again, I don't know if it's on purpose, but Gabby does the same as well. Like there's a reason why it's called Gabby Lane. So
Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe it's a philosophy for some of these younger guys that this team is hopefully trying to work on or
yeah. He
something,
went
trying to get them
four for
to
12. which
Yeah.
I'm like, that's great. I just wish we could have seen a bigger sample size. I mean, we're gonna be able to see him in the WBC.
Dude, I'm so excited for that. I'm so excited for
Um,
the WBC.
so
Yeah. As far as I know,
he'll be
he
playing
is
for
a
his dad.
starter. Yeah,
Yeah,
I believe he's a
Yeah,
starter as
I don't
well.
think the
So
Netherlands have anybody that they want to start over him.
yeah, so he's gonna get all. What? How many weeks is it? 2 weeks?
They're like 2 or 3
Two.
weeks, I think.
Two. Yeah. So
I think
he's
three at
gonna have
most.
a.
Yeah.
at the
He's probably
very
gonna have at
least,
least 50
it's
at
pool
bats or so.
play, which
So
I
yeah,
think
at
is
least a week, depending on how they're doing pool play.
Yeah.
is pool play 4 games. I think it's
It's
four
three. I
games.
think it's three. At least
3.
I'm just again kind of going my memory off of the Jolly Olive video I watched. Which again,
Yeah,
shout out
because
Jolly Olive.
there's 4 teams in each pool, so that makes sense if you're 3 games. So yeah, he'll get another 10, 12 at bats. So it'll it'll be great. I just I wanted to see him play more. Like I think I think his ceiling. We know what he is on defense. I just need to see him improve that bat. He's you got to be a 100 OPS plus player at minimum. If he can do that, he's gonna be great.
100%. He'll fit right into this, especially in Chase Field. You need somebody that knows how to field the ball, and I know I will still talk shit about him to this day, but one of the best ones I've seen out there, at least in my time. AJ Pollock was an amazing defensive center fielder out there for a while there, before he decided to just have bones made of paper mache every single year. It seemed like. So if we can get kind of that elite defensive center fielder, and then somebody that can even hit pretty well, I think that'd go a long ways. But there's another guy, I guess kind of a perfect segue into our next topic here. There's another guy that, whether in center field or whether in the outfield, I know Drew Jones is already defensively could be on the big leagues. There's another guy that I know last year what we saw in the minors and at least what we saw in today's game looks like he might be ready for the major league level as well. And kind of what people have been asking about, even like Scott said earlier, is Ryan Waldschmidt. Whether or not Waldy would be making the opening day roster. I honestly like that. That's why I thought that I was like, oh, this I think question has been answered for us. For some reason, my brain tricked me into thinking that he was on that list of people that were reassigned. I don't know why I thought that. So that's why today in the game when he was playing, I'm like, wait, but he played today? What do you mean? But he did pretty solid again. I mean, even before today's game, it was looking a little bit, a little bit sus. I think Gabe in our group chat was saying that he's not doing the best to impress. I think he was hitting like 176. He had like I think 7 strikeouts in his
16. Yeah.
16 at bats, like in insanely high strikeout rate. But thankfully, after today's game, it definitely kind of spiked that a little bit. Just in today's game alone against the Guardians, which the fifth inning was an absolute just hit fest. It seemed like everybody and their mother. I feel like you, me, all of us could have gone up there and absolutely just gotten a base hit in that inning, apparently. But today against the Guardians, he went 3 for 3 with 2 doubles, a run scored, 2 ribbies, no strikeouts and all that, and got his spring training average up to 316, on base to 350, slug to 632. But again, the big strikeout issue, kind of is still lingering a little bit. And then I guess to kind of answer Scott's question, for me personally, again, we'll see what Brandon and Gabe have to say. I don't think that he's doing enough yet to crack the opening roster. Again, his numbers are looking really solid, and he still has a chance. I said it before spring started that unless he hits like 4 or 500, I don't see him making the roster. And then also looking at kind of what Jordan Lawler has done so far in spring training, makes me think that I mean, he's been hitting really well. I mean, he has the same amount of ABs, same amount of hits. He's hitting a little bit better. He's hitting 333, but his on base. I mean, Waldschmidt's on base is 350, but Lawler's is 556. Lawler's
6
slugging.
walks.
The couple home runs have helped the slugging, but yeah, say like Brandon said, he has 6 walks to 5 strikeouts. So Lawler has walked more than he struck out, where Ryan Waldschmidt has his 7 strikeouts to only 1 walk this spring. So again, maybe kind of like Ivan Melendez, maybe Waldschmidt is trying to swing a little bit too hard. Maybe he was afraid he would be in the first round of reassignments, and that's why he was struggling a little bit. To where maybe seeing himself get a little bit of an extra leash here, maybe another weaker play, kind of let him relax a little bit and actually be able to, swing a little bit more comfortably, not have to worry about trying to, crush every single ball that he pitches. Because even obviously, I know the box score, seeing that 176 before today's game, could be like, wow, he's not impressing. He's still hitting the ball really well. He's still playing defense really solid out in left field. So, I mean, I think that if Jordan Lawler wasn't hitting the way he is and playing the way he currently is, I think that Lawler deserves the opportunity a little bit more soon than Ryan Waldschmidt. And again, I love Waldy to be on the squad. I'm excited to watch him at the major league level because if not this year, then he'll probably be a midseason call up, or at the very, very worst case scenario, he'll be making the squad out of spring training next year. But I think that just with what we're seeing from Jordan Lawler, I mean, the plate approach has been much better. It seems like he's, being able to hit the ball, especially breaking pitches. He's able to readjust to those a little bit. Like, again, still striking out. Like, everybody strikes out in spring training, but still less strikeouts than walks is, I think, the big thing. And I think that the way that Jordan Lawler's playing is going to keep Waldschmidt out of a spot, but who knows? We still got probably at least another week to decide if, or to see if Waldy's going to make the next cuts or the next reassignments. But I would not be surprised to see him, on that next bus down to Reno, and getting some AAA action in there and let Jordan Lawler still have some even more playing time. But I don't know. Maybe that's just me again as a big Jordan Lawler collector who's got a lot of money into Jordan Lawler and just who's been a believer of him since we drafted him originally. I still think that Lawler will be the one getting that spot, but who knows? Anything is possible, like Kevin Garnett said. But
Anything is possible.
anything is possible. Unlike Jason Tatum, we did it. We did it. God, what a loser. But yeah, so what are you guys' thoughts on obviously the whole Ryan Walshman? I know obviously today's game has made his stats spike up a little bit more than they were before. But even just actually watching the games, it's not like he's been playing terrible. It's just striking out a little bit. Do you think that Waldschmidt still has the opportunity to crack the opening day roster? Maybe Alec Thomas being gone for a couple weeks, if Ryan Waldschmidt goes on an absolute heater, maybe there's an actual chance. Do you think that it's still gonna be one of those where unless he's hitting over 500, we're gonna see him in Reno? Like, what are your thoughts on the whole Ryan Waldschmidt possibilities out of camp of making the major league roster here?
So I do think he's probably going to be one of the last rounds of cuts unless he goes back to hitting what I said earlier was during our group chat was a 160 or I think even less than 180 or whatever it was. If he's a week from now if he's still under that and not over 300 like he is right now, I do think he's probably like I said, like if he's trash, then yeah, they'll probably send him down. But if not, then I think they're just gonna give him all the runway possible. It's not gonna be one of the last guys that's actually sent back down. Like I know they have one more round of cuts um, around mid March or so. So that would still put him about 2 weeks or 2.5, close to 3 weeks worth of time, which in that time he can get another 25, 30 at bats or so. So this team can actually judge him a little bit better. But we know that in spring it's not always just about the stats. We know a lot of times it's guys working on one specific thing. Maybe the team told them, "Hey, we want you to go the opposite way. We want you to do this or do that." So maybe that certain things are just you know him trying to adjust to something that the team is asking him to. So maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's what's leading to the high strikeout percentage. But for me, that's mostly what it is. It's the strikeout percentage. It's not so much the average as it is the strikeout percentage because out of the 13 outs that he's made so far in spring, 7 of them have been a strikeout. So that means he's not putting the ball in play as much as you would like him to. If he was hitting like flyouts or something like that, we saw it with Gabby. It took him a long time to get his first hit in general. And then
He got his first hit today.
and he got his first hit. But he was smoking the ball. Like if you look at some of those replays, like not only was he smoking the ball, some of these players are making some absolute insane plays to get those outs as well. So with someone like Gabby, you see, you can't always just look at the box score. You got to see the situations as well. But it seems like Waldschmidt is just striking out too much for me that I don't think this team is going to be willing to give him that opening day roster spot. But again, without Jordan Lawler there, without Alec Thomas there, this team's outfield is starting to thin out a little bit too much right now. So again, he's probably going to get all the runway possible to see if he is worth keeping up at the major league level because Gurriel is not going to be ready, at least not for the outfield. Maybe he's going to be ready for a DH spot. Corbin Carroll, there's been a lot of talk about him possibly being ready for opening day. What if he isn't? What's the solution there? So this team does have to figure out, if to have a fourth outfielder, and maybe it is going to be Walter. And like you mentioned, Lawler. It seems like Lawler might have, like, obviously, barring some sort of injury, but it seems like he has at least an outfield position locked up. After that, it just kind of just depends what this team would prefer him to be, whether it's center fielder or left fielder or something. But we still have to see that. But yeah, Waldy, um, he's not gone past Double A. I think that's kind of the most important aspect here, because Scott Mack is saying that Tatis Jr. he didn't really play in Triple A, but I brought up Juan Soto, brought up Bryce Harper, but these guys are like generational talents, and I'm not saying that Waldschmidt isn't or can't be, but he's not Juan Soto. He's not, even
Bryce Harper was
Acuna.
literally like
So
the LeBron James of baseball, and like
yeah,
he was
he was,
getting
the
magazines.
chosen one,
Yeah, he
like
was like
labeled
the
the chosen
chosen
one.
one. Yeah,
So the guys that go that quickly, some guys get like 7 or 8 games in AAA, then just put him back to the major league. I believe Corbin Carroll only had like 20 games or something like that in AAA when they called him up. But again, it's just these exceptional talents. So as of right now, we still have to see if Waldschmidt is that. The problem is with since they don't air in these damn games, like we can't see them. We just can only really see the box score. Um, so hopefully they show a little bit more. Like I said, hopefully we can see him a little bit more, see if he is worth that. Again, I don't know if this team is going to be willing to even start the clock. If there's anything, maybe they're just going to send him down to Reno. Instead of reassigning him to Double A, maybe they might reassign him to Triple A, get him a month in Reno, call him back up in May, and then you basically have an entire entire other year of service time. And with how young he is, this team is going to control him like throughout his entire 20s.
yeah. So I think that kind of hit the nail on the head that he's still going to get a couple other weeks of ABs. He can really turn around, or not like he's not turning around, but he can really prove to us. And maybe the one I know there's been some reports on Corbin Carroll and all that, how he's really been pushing for opening day. I think that him and Gurriel are going to be the two guys where unless you put them in a straitjacket and lock them up in a building, under Chase Field in the storage facility, like the pitching coach from Little Big League, or Rookie of the Year. I call it Hot Ice. I don't know if you guys seen the movie. He basically locks himself in a cage on accident. But they're gonna have to do that on purpose down there and throw away the keys if they want to keep Gurriel and Corbin Carroll off the field, because I feel like even if they're they say they're ready, the team's still gonna slow roll it. So who knows? Maybe that's the right call, and maybe give Corbin Carroll an extra week or two just to make sure that hamate bone and everything else is healing properly. Because those small bones in those hands can always be very finicky. You never know. I mean, they're literally super tiny bones, and they can be super fragile. So maybe they want to give him a shot. And if Walt
I believe they removed it from his hand,
Yes,
removed
it's
it,
right?
been removed.
Yeah, so hopefully it shouldn't be an issue. I believe most of the things they've talked about is just pain management,
yeah,
and obviously this power is going to be gone for like maybe the first month or so.
yeah. So again, maybe that's one of those where they'd be like, hey, you know what? Go down to Reno for a week or two just to get your swings in, and then we'll send you and Waldy to swap places and then come back up. But it's I wouldn't be upset if Waldschmidt makes the opening day roster, but again, I think that Jordan, like if it would come down to Jordan Lawler or Alec Thomas, Corbin Carroll, and then a third one, I think that you know Jordan Lawler, at least at the time, is more deserving of that spot, and gonna have to hopefully be surprised, but I don't know. I'm just gonna enjoy watching Waldy ball out because I don't know. There's something about a person with a name ending in Schmidt playing for the D-backs that just kind of gets me going there. But Brandon, what's your whole thoughts on the Ryan Waldschmidt? Obviously, Justin saying that he's liking how he's making a real impact. I know some of the games, like Gabe said, he's getting like MLB the Show level robbed, where you're getting a perfect in the gap, and they're just fucking Superman diving, making some insane plays, or you're just getting the most insane batted ball luck. What are your whole thoughts on Ryan Walshman, what he's done for so far for spring training, and the possibility of him actually cracking the opening day roster in 2026?
If you would have asked me this morning, I would have said, yeah, nope, he ain't making it. His odds were already incredibly low. Then I think he heard us talking smack, and he's like, you know what? Hold up. I'm going to go have a 3 for 3 day and put myself back in the conversation. Um, that fourth outfield position is really like it's very early. We played like what, like 8 games, 9 games, but there's a lot of guys that are playing really well. Like Tommy Troy has an over 1,000 OPS, 8 hits, 4 doubles, so he's slugging the ball. Tim Tawa, 15 at bats, has an over 1,000 OPS. Thomas is playing really well. K Rob's playing really well. Like, there's a lot of guys that are fighting for that fourth outfield position. So it's not like, and it's not like Walshman's not deserving. It's just, it's like Gabe said, it's that strikeout rate. Like, that is a bit concerning. In 19 at bats, he's striking out 7 times.
A
That's a
lot of swing and
little,
miss.
it's a lot of swing and miss. It's a little worrisome, but again, we have a lot of camp left. So, could this be the sign of him turning it around? Could he go on a little bit of a streak here the next week and not strike out as much, and then we're all shutting our mouth like, "Yep, I guess that was just a little bit of a thing of him just adjusting in camp." But like, there's a lot of guys that like I don't envy Torrey in his decision, especially for that utility position that they're gonna have to refill uh, for Blaze. Like Vargas is hitting really well right now. He's hitting over 400 with the 941 OPS. So what you got Tawa, you got Vargas there, you got Tommy Troy, and then you got that fourth outfield position. Like that's really still up for grabs. So we have our games are basically in 3 weeks. Season opens literally in 3 weeks.
I'll be there.
You're gonna be in Los Angeles for the
Oh, sorry, I'm talking about the home one, not the.
yeah.
No, I would never step foot in that fucking shithole of a fucking stadium. I enjoy not being put in a coma by that shitty ass fan base.
So like I think there's still a lot for them to play for. I just how long are they gonna hold out? Like are they going to give him a chance, or are they gonna send him down with some cuts here in the next couple of days? Like I kind of hope with them being without all these guys going to the WBC because Christian Robinson also is probably going to be not on the roster here momentarily because he plays for Great Britain, so he's not going to be
Forgot
there
that.
either.
Forgot he plays for Great Britain.
So Waldschmidt might be playing every day during when we're playing the WBC. So
Great
it
opportunity
like
for him.
it is a great runway for him. But have they do are they going to give him a chance? Like even if he plays every day, say he finishes say in the like in 2 weeks his average is about the same and his slugging is about the same. Like is that going to be enough? Is hitting over 300 with a 980 OPS is that going to be enough for them to do it, or are they going to be like, well, you need just a little? We need you to put you back in the oven, a little bit more seasoning. You're not ready just yet.
I think it also depends on obviously like Akigami is saying in the chat here. How about K-Rod for the fourth outfielder? I mean, looking at his spring training stats, which by the way, Scott, if you're wondering how to do spring training, if you go to the any if you like Google any MLB player and you look up like click their name to the MLB.com website, you can go to spring training. Make sure you filter by MLB, and then it'll tell you like all their stats. You can go to game logs, but make sure you filter by the year. But that's how you can look up some spring training
If you
stats.
just go to
But
dbacks.com and you hit on stats,
that's true. That too. That too.
it will show their current spring training stats. So
Yeah.
that's how I'm getting all this information. Like
Same.
just,
But I think the
I'm
whole
not that great with math.
yeah, right. I'm super autistic about some numbers, but I can't just remember all this off the top of my head and just know it. Like I know my mom calls me a little ESPN, but that's not my main superpower. But I wish it was. But I think the Wall Schmidt kind of thing depends on. I mean, obviously, if he hits 400, it'd be tough to keep him down. But I mean, if Tommy Troy and Christian Robinson, like I think, kind of like what I was saying with Jordan Lawler, kind of being in that, if it's like the totem pole, he's kind of up there in the totem pole, and like who obviously deserves a spot. Which also, by the way, I want to welcome you, Disruptive. Didn't want to miss over your comments, Yo Disruptive. Always a pleasure to see you joining on here in here with the conversations. But I think if you're looking at it like a totem pole, Lawler's going to be up there where he's going to get the most runway. I think he has the best opportunity to win a spot. I think Christian Robinson, just the fact that how long he's been with the team, how he's kind of been in limbo. I think if we don't put him on the 40 man or at least onto the roster, he could be Rule 5 eligible. And I mean, Justin Spring, again, it's a very small sample size. Most of these guys have had about 12 ABs. In Spring, he's hitting 417 with a 462 on base and a 500 slugging. He struck out only one time, walked only one time. But I mean, he's got a double. Like he's like looking a lot better than I think a lot of us were expecting. So I think it's going to go like Jordan Lawler, Christian Robinson, Tommy Troy right underneath K-Rob, just because, like we were talking about earlier, with not many guys can just skip straight from Double A to the major leagues. I know Paul Goldschmidt did it years ago. He went from Mobile when we saw the Bay Bears as our Double A affiliate up to the major league squad. But like Tommy Troy's already in Reno. He's having a fantastic spring as well. So I think it's kind of one of those where he's got a couple levels to go through. Like if
Yeah.
he has a
Also,
better spring than
yeah,
K Rob and
Tommy
Troy.
Troy. Tommy Troy has also been in Reno. He's also older.
Mhm.
Something that we talked about. He's about 25. I believe he might turn 26 this year. And he's been around longer than Waldschmidt as well. So Tommy Troy is a guy I believe would be Role 5 eligible next season as well. So that's a guy that this team has to figure out, where they're going to put him. And Waldschmidt at least has a couple more years until he would be considered major league ready. So, like you said, like unless he shows out in the rest of spring, once he actually faces major league major league talent, because right now a lot of his at bats are still against minor leaguers. If not, guys who are trying to make the squad, a lot of like these minor league contract type of guys and relievers. So until you start to see him go against, you know, Yamamoto's of the world and stuff like that, then well, he's not going to face Yamamoto, I guess, because I guess the best players are going to be gone for a while. So
The
unless
guys that
he's
are like
facing,
already going to be in like rotation, like kind of like how
yeah,
guys facing our Nellies and our Gallons and our Erods.
yeah,
Like how are you going to do it against guys that are pretty much secured in a spot on the major league rotation or in the
yeah,
major league bullpen? Like if you're doing up
yeah,
against if you're putting up those numbers against like Edwin Diaz or I mean I know Roki Sasaki had a rough year last year, but he was insane in the postseason. If you're doing those numbers against like already like guys that are going to be in the majors, then that's one thing. But yeah, if you're doing it up against guys like how we saw players do to Landon Sims or Spencer Guy, seeing guys that again they're all still any if you're pitching in a major league game or spring training game, you're still better than 98% of the probably 99% of the world's population on what you can do. But there's a difference between minor league players, whether it's hitting or pitching, and major league players, whether it's hitting or pitching.
yeah. Who knows how many of these guys he's actually already faced as well. Um, so if he's seen him a few times in the minor leagues, like maybe he knows some of these guys. So that's why it's not that I put stock into what he's doing or what Tommy Troy. Like I believe Justin's asking about Tommy Troy as well. Some of these minor league guys, like I think they've all been around just enough that they've already faced some of these guys. Like I said, this isn't major league ready talent for the most part, so we're gonna have to see. I mean, even look at the Dbacks game logs. After the first or second pitcher, it's like 8 no names.
Mm-hmm.
Like so that's what these guys are facing off against, but obviously for other teams. So until you start to see more recognizable names in that game log, I wouldn't put that much stock if someone's batting 1,000 or something like that. Like you got to take it with a grain of salt and realize these are guys that they face in the minor leagues, and also these are guys who are just fighting for a major league spot in general.
Exactly. You're not facing, the full cream of the crop. But, I mean, out of all the names and numbers we discussed here, I mean, Tommy Troy is another, like, I think he's been just kind of flying on our radar because obviously we're focusing on Jordan Lawler. I mean, I love K Rob. Maybe Tommy Troy is going to be a little bit even higher on the totem pole than K Rob. I mean, he's hitting 471 with a 471 OBP and a 706 slub. He's got 4 doubles, 2 ribbies. He's got, I mean, 4 strikeouts to no walks. I mean, obviously that right there, but he has more ABs than all the other guys. He's got 17 at bats. So I mean, like, I guess the ABs can kind of change a little bit because of walks. So I think even though Jordan Lawler has technically more than 16 ABs, that would be listed because obviously the walks don't count as they count as
Plate appearance.
yeah, plate appearances, so not AB. Yeah, so obviously the 17. I mean, but he's got 4. Or he's got 8 hits out of his 17 ABs. So like he's got more hits than the rest of the guys. So I mean, Tommy Troy, like I wouldn't hate if any of these guys make the squad. Like again, I still think that Jordan Lawler should be making the squad as our opening day center fielder. But I would not hate if K. Rob, Tommy Troy, or even
Jorge Barosa. Yes.
oh, please, for the love of God, no. Which, okay. I will say again. I know we will make our jokes. Barosa's been looking a lot better this spring. Overall, like he's had a couple. He's got a home run. I think he had a triple the other day. Like he's been looking better. Hopefully, if he can, hit the ball better. Like if he can hit the ball and actually be more consistent at the plate, and not just a guaranteed out like he kind of seemed like he was last year. But I mean, even in spring this year in his 15 ABs, he's hitting 267 with a 600 slugging and a 267 OBP, so 867 OPS again against most likely minor league pitching. Like I don't know, like Barosa again. If I wouldn't be surprised if he makes it. in the nicest way possible. I don't want Barossa as our fourth outfielder on the squad. I know he can, offer a little bit more defensively, but I would rather have that spot go to Tommy Troy, Christian Robinson, or even Ryan Waldschmidt. Just something
I
that gets a little bit more exciting than Barossa.
I saw Barossa up close, like he literally passed by me during the fan fest.
You're probably taller than he is.
Yeah, so he's listed at 5'7". I'm like, he was not 5'7". Like the guy was at my shoulder. I'm 5'8", so whatever he is, that's a lie. Like maybe with the
5'5".
cleats on the on concrete, maybe he's 5'7" with cleats on concrete or something. But he passed by my little brother who was also like 5'5" or so, and they seem like the same height. So I don't know. Like someone's lying there. Like I'm gonna be curious to see those official
He's,
ABS
he's listed
numbers.
at 5'6" on the MLB website.
Oh, is he? Yeah,
Yeah,
because I've seen some other places say it's like 5'7" or something. So, I mean 5'6", I still feel like it was stretching it a
probably
little bit.
with
Maybe
cleats at 5'6".
yeah. So, but I'm curious to see like the ABS system because I know like the ABS system, a few guys lost a few inches from those official reports. So
The
I'm
worst thing
curious
that
to
can
see.
happen is a man.
Yeah, but yeah, so like I'm very curious to see how many 6 foot guys are actually like 5'10" or something.
Yeah.
Because just so all like 3 ladies listening out there, if a guy tells you he's 6 feet, he's 5'10" or 5'11". No one says they're 6 feet. Everyone says they're 6'1" if they're actual 6'1". So 6 foot guys don't exist.
Yeah, so I mean, like, I think like my doctor, like it's weird. Some years where they're like, "Oh, you're 5'11." Some years they're like, "Oh, you're 6 foot." I'm like, "Bro, can we give me one solid answer?" I always stick with the 5'11" because if I say 6 foot, someone's like, "No, you're not." I'm like, "Okay, I don't need to go down this whole rabbit hole, or this I don't need this whole debate opening up here." But yeah, it's definitely going to be an interesting battle. And I think out of all the positional battles, I think that spot is the most open. I mean, we already know that first base is going to be good old Pavin Smith, Carlos Santana, catcher position. We already know it's not like it was last year where Jose Herrera and whoever else is battling it out there. We're going to see James McCann and Gabby over there. Third base, that is Arenado's, which Arenado, another name. He's been looking pretty solid in spring so far. I know
He'll
it's
be leaving too because he plays for Puerto
he's
Rico.
playing for who's he playing for this year?
Puerto Rico.
Hold on, my fucking mic or my headset's being all weird again. Um, but yeah, so it'll definitely be interesting to see. I mean, every other position outside of that fourth outfield spot is pretty much already locked down and decided. But crazy things have happened. We'll just have to see how spring is going. And again, I wouldn't be upset if any of these guys, outside of Jorge Barossa, makes the opening day roster as that fourth outfielder. Because again, I truly think that all these guys are making a great case for themselves, and no matter who gets sent down, it will be a tough conversation for Torey Lovello and company, or even Mike Hazen if he's the one technically making the decisions, like we assume that he is. But um, I think I know we're a little bit past the hour here, but there was at least one other topic. One other thing I wanted to quickly breeze through is there were a few other D-backs that have officially made their spring training debuts. We got Zach Gallen, who went just over an inning, struck out two. Labored a little bit. I know one of those at bats was kind of a duel there where he ended up winning with the strikeout. They just blew a fastball right by the guy, but he went clean, 2 strikeouts, no runs allowed in his one inning of a debut. Ryan Nelson looked pretty solid in his debut against the Mariners. I think he went 2 innings. Nelly looking pretty nasty once again. We had Dre Jamison not looking as good in his spring training debut. I know there's a lot of talk about his induced vertical break on his fastball being around like 19
He
to
looked a
20.
lot better today, though.
Yeah, looked a lot better today. So definitely seen some other guys actually get some spring training time in and whatnot. But outside the guys that we've all seen, maybe there's a few other that I'm not mentioning that we've seen make their debuts. But those
Yeah,
Seawald is
Ginkgo.
still
I believe
Seawald.
Ginkgo had his debut today or yesterday.
Ginkle, Seawald, Loizaga looked pretty solid too.
Thompson has thrown a couple times, I think now since then. He
Yeah.
looked all right.
I think the couple for me, obviously, I think Gallon. I think what stood out to me for Gallon at least was the touching. I know the last couple years it's been like, all right, dude, we don't care how hard you're throwing your fastball when it's right down the middle on a fucking tee to these guys, but looked like he was touching 95 again, which is always a pleasure to see because if he has his control down, you're throwing that 95 with that disgusting changeup and curveball. I mean, that's when Zach Gallen is right. That's when he's in his Cy Young bag. So it's nice to see that velo from him. I mean, Ryan Nelson. I know the Mariners, their offense, it's not horrible, but it's definitely not a Dodgers level of an offense, and even the one that Zach Gallen faced was definitely not the Dodgers offense. That was basically minor league offense that they had going up there. But definitely a couple names that we haven't seen actually get some spring training time in that have finally got their spring training time in, and we'll definitely see more of them as we go along here. Any of the names that kind of stuck out to you, obviously, and I think one of the other guys that in that Mariners game at least wanted to point out too while we're just talking about it as we got to see Taylor Clark again. I know he's already been technically making his debut, but he had another inning, only one hit allowed. Joe Ross, I think. Joe Ross, I mean, that's a name that, my God, he has been around for a long time, I feel like. Yeah, 2015. I'm pretty sure. Oh, that's a different Joe. I'm mixing up my Joe Rosses. I don't know why I'm thinking about the Padres one, but Joe Ross made his
You mean his
spring training.
brother?
Does he have a brother? Was his
Yeah.
brother the one that pitched for the Padres?
Yes.
Well, that almost fucking no hit us back in like 2017, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, I thought so. Thought so. But Joe Ross made his spring training debut. We've seen a couple other guys, but I think for me, Ryan Nelson. I mean, 2 innings. Most of the starting pitchers aren't going to be going even usually over 1 inning. But Ryan Nelson was really efficient. I mean, 2 innings. How many pitches did he have? Yeah, he only had 25 pitches, so which is pretty solid in his 2 innings, three
Tyson
strikeouts,
Ross.
no hits, no walks. Yeah, Tyson. Thank you, Tyson Ross. Yeah, Tyson Ross. Oh my God, I remember being at that game and I'm like, this is when the Padres were still bad. Back when they had fucking zero fans outside of Brandon and actual Padre fans. Being no hit by this guy, and I'm like, are we really about to get no hit by Tyson Ross and have Franchi Cordero be the only guy sending a ball almost 500 feet off the scoreboard? But yeah, say there's been a couple guys making their debut. Nelson stood out to me. Zach Gallen, Dre Jamison, who looked better in his game number 2. But any of these guys that we're finally seeing in spring training kind of stuck out to you so far, or that you're looking forward to seeing more of as we get into some more innings, some more outings for some of the more notable MLB names?
I'm kind of just fascinated about Dre Jamison because he's a guy that's been talked about a lot in terms of the closer situation. Since again, this team doesn't have an actual closer. There's a lot of talk about maybe Loizaga, Kevin Ginkel.
We know it's Paul Meatballs. We know it's going to
Yeah,
be Paul
it's
Meatballs.
gonna be. Oh my god. I
He threw
mean,
a meatball against the Angels. Oh my God. It was
I mean,
right down the middle, and it was
he
a
is throwing a
sweeper.
little bit harder. I will say he is throwing a
Yeah.
little bit harder than even when he was here that other season because he was throwing 90 or 89 for
90-91,
being
yeah.
yeah. He was throwing 93, close to 94. So not great, but for a seventh inning guy, not terrible. So if he's able to be the seventh inning guy again, just keep him away from those high leverage situations, and I think he's fine. I don't hate Paul Sewald. Like, you criticize the guy, and suddenly you hate him and you hate everything about him. Like, he did a good job for this team. He blew it in the World Series because 93 up and into
I mean,
Corey Seager is not going to get it
future
done.
Hall of Famer and Corey
Yeah,
Seager, like it's going to happen.
but yeah, with Dre, he was hitting 99, close to even 100. Um, that's a guy that the last few years we talked about. Like, if he was healthy, probably would be this team's closer. Just because closers just you just need a different mentality. Like if you look at every team's closer like throughout history, especially the good ones, they're all like they all have a little screw loose. And Dre, he has like when you talk about guys who have that dog in him, that is Dre. Like he's a very confident guy. He just has that strong attitude, and then he has the cleats and everything. So he is a guy that I think is primed to take that closer position for this team. So that's what I'm looking at. If he's the closer coming open day, I would feel a lot better uh, coming into to the season. Having him be the actual closer and having Kevin Ginko or something, because Kevin Ginko also was throwing 97, 98 as well. So a lot of these guys are getting their velocity back and they're looking pretty decent. And again, we talked about it. It's a lot of high risk type of guys that we're going to see in this bullpen. But some of these guys might end up paying off, and then once we start getting reinforcement backs, we can send down or get rid of the guys who aren't getting it done and keep the guys who are. So for me, it is Dre Jameson, and again, in my opinion, it's the closer position is his job to lose as of right now.
Yeah, so he's definitely, man, I would love Dre Day in the ninth inning out there. Oh man, he'd probably have
Fireworks
some
and
sick ass. I think, I mean, maybe he doesn't listen to it, but I mean, I think like he would have to go with "Forgot About Dre" or some other like Dr. Dre song as his walkout song, right? I gotta go with something like that. I mean, I don't know. Maybe he listens to something different, but I don't know. I think he'd have an electric intro, and it would definitely get me hyped because I like the closers, like Gabe said, that have confidence, have a screw loose, and can throw pretty hard. I know that's not a throwing hard isn't just what's going to get you by, but it's definitely a lot more exciting than seeing 91 out of the bullpen and stuff being hung and borderline heart palpitating every single time. But that's like Gabe said, I think that's his spot to lose. Hopefully he can secure that spot come opening day. But Brandon, going on to you, my friend, out of the guys that have made their spring training debut, the notables, maybe some of the other under the radar guys, who's kind of stuck out to you so far, and who are you excited to see get some more innings here for spring training and see if they're the real deal, or if what we're going to see from them is what we've seen so far, or maybe if they can shake off maybe one of their kind of rough first appearances of spring.
For me, it's Kevin Ginkel. Like, if he's healthy, like they've been saying, then I think I think he's the closer on opening day. I think his stuff is the most consistently has been the best when he's healthy. That's just been his thing. Like, we can tell when he's not healthy because he can't. He oh my god, I can't watch him when he's not healthy and he's trying to pitch. It's a struggle to watch. He's only pitched once so far, so hopefully he pitches more. Gallon is actually supposed to go on Tuesday when we face Mexico. I believe we face Mexico on Tuesday for exhibition.
I think so, yeah.
I'm hoping he does well. Nelly looked absolute dynamite. Like, I'm like, just give him the opening day start now because he looked like an opening day starter, top of the rotation ace on Friday. Casey Anderson is interesting. He's looked really good, but he's only been in single A, so that's not someone that's probably going to impact the team. But 3 games, 2 1/3, 4 strikeouts, hasn't given up a base runner. So that's impressive to me. We had a slight scare with Brandon Garcia the other day.
Oh God,
We're like,
yeah.
oh dear Lord, please no. He's like the only lefty we have left. But I guess he was just sick, so we can all relax. I get why we thought he was injured because he couldn't throw a strike. And then they pulled him out, and we're like, oh, great. Another pitching injury. This is Arizona sports, just guys getting hurt. But it was just an illness, so hopefully he'll be good to go. Like Gabe said, like Dre just has the stuff that you want to see out of your closer in the 9th inning. He's a little out there. So and sometimes that's kind of what you need in the 9th inning. You need that guy that's gonna get you riled up. He's gonna use all of his adrenaline and give it into every pitch. So, I said Ginkel. I'm not gonna be mad if he announces that it's Dre. So
Yeah.
that'll be fun.
Yes, I think I know Loizaga got gave up a run in his start, but I think that's another name too that the stuff is we even had some discussion in our Discord. The stuff isn't the question; it's just the health concerns, whether he can actually stay healthy and on the field. I mean, he was really solid in his years as a Yankee, and I think that if we can get I'm looking for the numbers. So there's one specific year where he was like absolutely lights out, or at least I think it was 24. I think it was 23. So no, I think it was 24. Let me double check. So in 2021 he had a 2.17 ERA, but in 2023 he had a 3.06 and 17. So yeah, if we can get again, that's just been the issue is he had 70 innings pitched in 21. He was really solid in 22, 23, and even last year I think he dealt with just some injury issues. Like he hasn't been consistently on the field the last couple of years. So if he can just be healthy, I mean that'd be interesting. So I'm gonna keep an eye on a little bit more Loizaga. But yeah, Ginkel is going to be a big name to kind of keep an eye out of there. I think another name that we kind of saw last year, especially obviously in regards to like Brandon Garcia, is Philip Abner. I know we only have the one lefty in Brandon Garcia in the bullpen right now, so Philip Abner would be a nice name to keep an eye on throughout spring training as we're seeing some more games because
3 games, 3 innings,
we'll need a lefty
one
because
base runner.
we'll need a nice lefty out of there to go along with Brandon Garcia, at least until we get AJ Puck back. So Philip Abner will be another name that I'm curious to just, see how his other couples outings go here in spring training as we go along. But any other final things you guys maybe want to circle back on, whether it be the three pitchers we opened up the show with, talking about their injury concerns with Merrill Kelly, Brandon Falk, Christian Mena. Maybe in the positional battle, I know we kind of spend a little bit of time or a majority of the time on Wald Schmidt and kind of that fourth outfield spot. Anything you want to circle back there, or maybe any other things that you're excited about, whether it be the exhibition games coming up against Team Mexico or other World Baseball Classic, or just baseball D-backs related news in general that you wanted to touch on here before we get out of here.
Just mostly the WBC. Like I have two teams that I have rooting interest in, so I'm really, really excited for that to start. And it's just exciting to have baseball back in general, but competitive baseball is always so much more fun because, yeah, even watching on TV, like as much as I do like watching spring training games, after the second and third inning, you're kind of just like, all right, like I'm going to take a nap now. Like there's a bunch of guys that, we're not going to see probably ever. So, at that point, you can just kind of check out a little bit. But it's going to be exciting to have the WBC. A lot of the games are early, so it's going to be nice to be able to listen and then watch a little bit at work. So it's going to help pass the time a lot.
I agree. Yeah, so getting actual competitive games, like, man, nothing like, I'll have a lot of opinions about the U.S. and all that, but the second it comes to a sporting event where the team is wearing the red, white, and blue, fucking eagle sounds, machine gun sounds. What the fuck is a kilometer? That's the kind of energy I'm on every time we're around. So that's definitely going to be me for the World Baseball Classic, and I agree. It's just nice to have some competitive baseball in general because spring training can get a little bit boring, but. Brandon, anything you wanted to either circle back on or anything else you want to leave this highlight here as we're before we get out of here and lead into our next week of spring training baseball?
One guy that's been just barreling up the baseball but not getting the results is Jose Fernandez. Yeah. He's putting 13 balls in play. 11 of them have been 95 miles per hour or more off the bat. He's averaging 102 miles per hour off of exit velocity. He's only batting just over 200, so you're like, yeah, so he's not getting that end result that you would hope for, but he's barreling it up. And he's another one that could be a utility guy. I'm pretty sure he can play all four infield positions. Like he could even play first. So someone to be on the lookout here, especially with all the guys missing, like no Perdomo, no Marte, no Arenado. Like he just like Waldy, he could get a lot of playing time now.
Yeah, so Jose Fernandez is definitely a name that we'll have to talk a little bit more about. And I want to get our Amanda Riley on the show here soon, especially once kind of spring training is going over, and some of these guys, like obviously like the Jose Fernandez and guys like that, but it's some other names like, hey, who impressed you this spring, all that. So we'll have to try to get Riley on for a show because it'd be fun to kind of get his thoughts. Because I know he definitely has a lot more information and some more of the nerdier stats on the side of baseball that I definitely enjoy. That I know like a lot of you listeners out there would like as well. So yeah, Jose Fernandez, another, again, not the former pitcher for the Marlins. Don't worry, he's not back. This is a completely different one. But yeah, he's been tearing the ball the cover off the ball this spring. He's had a couple clutch home runs. I mean, like Brandon said, just hits the piss out of the ball. So he's going to be exciting.
It's a small sample size, but
even in the minors last year, he was kind of showing what he is now, where he hits the ball really well, plays great defense. He can play pretty much everywhere. So he's definitely going to be a name to. Again, I don't think he's making the squad, especially like we said earlier, how stacked the infield is. But definitely a name to keep an eye on throughout the minor leagues this year, and track his development, because I wouldn't be surprised if he ends the year off in AAA, or at least gets a early call to AAA, depending on how he's absolutely tearing the cover off the ball. But I mean, either way, a lot of excitement. That's the one nice things about spring training. I know it can be boring. I know we don't get to see a lot of the main guys, but we get to familiarize ourselves with some names that we don't see too often, and actually get to have some more exciting young names, guys in the minor leagues that we can kind of track their progress throughout the minors and eventually into the major league level. And like I said, the best way to do that is join us here at Dbacks Dispatch. Our Discord, again, going to keep saying, is absolutely free. Would love to have you guys join in there. Send it to your friends as well. When you guys join, you guys can share the link with everybody else and be like, hey, you know what, come join this Discord. If you like to talk about D-backs ball, if you like to talk about, even if it's not just D-backs, we do have other, like, let's say you like the D-backs and you like hockey, or the D-backs and basketball, D-backs and maybe like some anime stuff like myself, maybe you like video games, all that. It's not just a D-backs Discord, it's pretty much for everything else. So if you have other interests outside, because obviously we all love the D-backs, we're all here for the D-backs, but we all have interests outside of just baseball, just the Diamondbacks in general, and we should have a channel in the Discord for you, or if you'd like to like us to make one for you so you can have some more discussions like that, can let us know. We'd love to do that and have you guys all feel welcome and a part of the Discord community and just the Dispatch community as well. So again, make sure you guys join the Discord, send it to your friends and all that. Absolutely free. You don't got to pay a single penny to join. Literally, it costs you nothing. Also, make sure you guys follow us on all socials, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, especially during the season. Like Gabe he goes in his prime Michael Jordan era of just absolute bangers, just fadeaway jumpers. The dude just absolutely cooks. Same with Josh, who makes all of our great thumbnails too, by the way. So shout out to man Josh, our producer, who, again, I don't think even without Josh, we wouldn't have, because it was kind of his idea to kind of get this whole thing started originally when we first started this back in the day too. So shout out him. Make sure you guys also go over to azsnakepit.com. I can't stress enough, is a great community, a lot of great writing. If you like anything D-backs written in general, that is the place to be, whether it's prospects, whether it's game recaps, whether it's just anything D-backs. The Snake Pit is going to be a place you want to be at, especially there's some great community involvement, a lot of great people over there. We'll see us over there. You'll see our man Josh over there. You'll see everybody you can think of, even our man Jeff, who's in the Discord. He does a lot of great writing over there. So, again, azsnakepit.com is the place you want to be for any D-backs coverage in general. But in the meantime, we hope you guys all have a fantastic rest of your Sunday and a great start to your week. Go D-backs. Hopefully we can see some more exciting development out of spring training ball and see some more spring training W's, as I believe they've won 3 or 4 in a row. So, keep the winning streak going, boys. Let's have some more fun, and we'll see you guys on the next episode of D-backs Dispatch. Take care.
Under the lights, the game goes down. Desert heat, but we own this town. Brett and Gabe on the call, with Josh in the back, bringing it on.